Hello children, Ammu is back with its 8th story on this channel. This is the period of Navratri and tomorrow is Dussehra. So I have chosen the story of Ramayan to tell you why Dussehra is being celebrated every year by all of us for so many years. Ramayan is an epic, and I'm sure that most of you would have heard about it, the stories from it. But since it's an epic, anytime you hear, it sounds new. The stories teach us so much. They tell us so much how we can be, what are the virtues a person can have, and about the good, about the evil. So, I'll tell you the story why Dussehra is celebrated in the story of Ramayan. This is the book I'm using for illustrations. It's been written by Bhakti Mathur, and the illustrations have been done by Maulshree Somani. Thousands of years ago, children, there was in a city named Ayodhya, there lived a king named Dasharath. He was a noble king and he had 3 queens, Kaushalya, Kaikai and Sumitra. They had 4 sons, Ram, Laxman, Bharat and Shatrughan. The sons were all very virtuous, but Ram was the virtuous of all. He was brave, he was fair, he was hardworking, he was dutiful, and everyone loved him. All the 4 boys grew up, and when they grew up, King Dasharath decided that Ram should be his successor. After King Dasharath, Ram should be the king of Ayodhya. Everyone was overjoyed with this decision because everyone loved Ram. But unfortunately, one person wasn't, and that was Queen Kaikai. Her mind was poisoned by her maid Manthara, and she went to King Dasharath and said that, "King, I have come to ask for my 2 boons that you had given me long, long ago." So, during a battlefield, once King Dasharath was very badly injured, and Kaikai had done a lot for him, had looked after him, nursed him back to health. Dasharath was very happy by her devotion and had given her 2 boons, which laughingly Kaikai had said that she would ask later. So she reminded him of that and said, "I want my 2 boons. 1, I want the throne of Ayodhya to go to my son Bharat. And 2, I want Ram to be exiled." Exiled means thrown out of the city, and he has to go and spend 14 years in the forest. King Dasharath was shocked. He thought, how could Queen Kaikai say so? And how could he send his son Ram away to forest for 14 years? He was very, very sad. Hearing of this, Ram came to his father and, like a dutiful son, he said, "Father, don't worry. My younger brother Bharat will be the king of Ayodhya. And I have no problems in going and spending 14 years in the forest. 14 years will just fly past." And saying this, he changed into simple clothes and got ready to leave. he found his wife Sita also ready to go with him, and his younger brother Laxman, who always was his shadow, ready to go with them. Thus, Ram, Lakshman and Sita left Ayodhya to the dismay of all the people of Ayodhya. They were very sad. They could not think that how could these three stay in the hardships of a forest. They all left for the forest and reached the forest, which was very dangerous. It was the Dandaka forest. It had wild animals and vicious demons lived there. Those demons had made life hell for the rishis and munis who lived in that forest to worship God and to meditate. Look what they are doing. They are doing a yagna here with a fire lit, and they would spoil that fire by throwing soil, dirt, bones of animals and even water to put off that fire. Once Ram Lakshman reached the forest, they were so brave. One by one, they killed all of them, and the ones that remained, they just fled away. Now the forest was peaceful, beautiful, and Ram, Lakshman and Sita lived very happily there. Sita would spend time playing with the deer. She loved them, and the deer also would come to play with her. The peacocks would dance around. Beautiful, lovely flowers would bloom in the greenery, and there were so many juicy fruits hanging from the trees that they would eat, and Sita would cook for them, and they would live happily there. They never missed the palace, the luxuries of the palace that they had left behind at all. Isn't this amazing? It is. Now, there was a demon king who was very powerful and cruel. His name was Ravana. Ravana was the king of Lanka, on the other side of the Indian Ocean. He had heard of Sita's beauty and decided that he wanted her to be his queen. He had so many queens, but he wanted Sita also to be his queen. So he came to the forest and disguised himself as a rishi beggar, and to send Ram and Lakshman from there, with magic he made a golden deer run past. Watching that, Sita cried out, "Wow, that's so beautiful! I want that golden deer." Ram said lovingly, "Okay, I will go and see where it is." And Ram left. Now Ravan had to send Lakshman away too. So he made a false cry, "Help, help!" Sita heard that and she thought that it was a cry from Ram calling out for help. And so she got anxious. She said to Lakshman, "Go, run and help your brother. He's calling out for help. He's in danger." Lakshman said, "My brother cannot be in danger. He can handle any dangerous situation. It is not my brother." But Sita was very anxious. He said, "No, you have to obey me. I am your elder. You go and check out where your brother is." Now Lakshman had to go then. So what did he do? He drew a magical line called the Lakshman Rekha around the hut that they lived in and said, "I am going because you order me to, but you will never step over this line until we come back. Saying this, he left. Now, this Ravan, in the guise of a rishi, beggar, called out, "Can someone give me some food, please? Can someone give some food to this hungry Muni?" Hearing this, Sita came out and offered fruits to him. Now she had not crossed the magical line. So he said, "I take offense. What is this? You are offering fruits to a rishi and like this? As if you're giving it to some beggar? You need to come close to me and offer me." Sita did not mean any disrespect, so she got scared and she said, "No, Muni, I did not mean any disrespect for you." And she crossed the line. And as soon as she crossed the line to give the fruits for this Ravan in disguise, Ravan came into his original true form and snatching her, pulling her by her hand, he put her into this magic chariot named Pushpak and flew away. And he laughed, ha, 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 because he was overjoyed that his plan was successful. He had tricked the two brothers, Ram and Laxman, and had kidnapped Sita to fly away to Lanka. Now, Sita was crying out for help. "Help, help, help, please help." And she was telling Ravan, "Leave me, let me go, let me go." But Ravan did not listen to anything. And then, listening to the cries of Sita, there was this majestic bird named Jatayu on the ground. He looked up and saw Sita being kidnapped and taken away by Ravan. He immediately flew up and shouted at Ravan, dared him. "How can you do such an evil thing? Kidnapping somebody else's wife? Leave her, let her go." What did Ravan do? He just took out his sword and cut off his wings. With the chopped wings, now Jatayu just fell on the ground with the bleeding wings. And Ravan took away Sita. Now when Ram and Laxman returned to their hut, and after their return they found no Sita. "Where is Sita? Sita, 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 where are you?" But they could not hear any response from her. Then they started searching around the forest, and when they went, they reached here and they found Jatayu. Jatayu told them the story and said, "Lord Ram, I could not save Sita. That evil Ravan took her away and I could do nothing." So Ram said, "You could not do anything because he chopped off your wings. Don't worry, you have helped me by telling me who has taken my wife." And immediately Ram and Laxman walked towards Lanka. On their way, they came to the monkey kingdom Kishkindha. There they met Hanuman. Hanuman was a great devotee of Ram. Hearing the story and the danger Sita was in, immediately he ordered all his army of monkeys to march to the ocean and make a bridge for going to Lanka. They all reached here at the tip of India, bottom of India, where the Indian Ocean is vast spread. And across the Indian Ocean, this is Lanka, where it used to be Ravan's kingdom. They all started making the bridge by throwing big stones. But children, you know, as soon as you throw stones, they sink into the water. Now that was a big problem. So Ram prayed to the god of the sea and said, please come and help me. God of the sea came and said, yes, what can I do for you? And then he said that I need a bridge to cross over to Lanka. He said, okay, fine. Now tell your army to make the bridge. And then as soon as they were dropping the stones, the stones kept afloat. And very soon they made the bridge and reached the kingdom of Lanka. They waged a war with their army. They dared, and the demons there, they were also in the form of an army, and they started the battle. It was a fierce battle. And in that fierce battle, it went on and on, but Ravan was nowhere to be seen. Then Ram called out, coward Ravan, are you hiding somewhere? Then Ravan came and said, why should I need to hide? I will now fight you. And he started fighting with all his 10 heads intact. Now Ram every time would, with his bow and arrow, cut off one head, immediately a new head will crop up. Next head, again a new head will crop up. And as many times he kept chopping off the heads, the new heads kept cropping up because he had the power. Now Ram wondered what to do and suddenly remembered that Ravan's younger brother, who was fed up by his cruelty, had shared a secret of how to kill Ravan with Ram. He remembered that he had said that all his life is in the belly button. So he picked up his bow and arrow, aimed at his belly button and shot it there. As soon as the arrow hit here, Ravan with all his 10 heads fell down with a huge cry. He was defeated. Ram quickly went to Sita and hugged her. This day, the day when Ram killed Ravan, is celebrated as Dussehra year after year because it signifies the victory of the good over evil. Good, Ram symbolizes the good and Ravan symbolizes the evil. So it symbolizes the victory of the good. Howsoever powerful the evil may be, victory will always be of the good. Ramayan tells us this. Ramayan teaches us this. And that is why, to reinforce this fact again and again, we celebrate this festival with great joy every year, year after year. So children, I think you have loved listening to this story, even if it is again. And if you have liked the video, then please subscribe. Press the circle on my video and spread the word as much as you can. I will be back next week again with an interesting story for all of you. Love from Ammu and you. Thank you. Be safe. Be happy.